knowledge and wisdom and understanding are essentially tools that the Lord has given His church so that they could work within, edify each other. They're basic gifts, and we don't earn them. They're given to us. They're given freely. On the other hand, integrity is what we do with those gifts. And when the Lord does give knowledge, understanding, wisdom, then we as vessels are supposed to use those gifts that He gives us the proper way, and we're supposed to see things for the way they are. And this is part of the integrity process. And I name this video Integrity because a lot of people focus on the wrong things. And if you start off with the wrong focus, it just goes downhill from there. You have to start with the right focus. And in my opinion, the right focus is that we need to understand things for the way they are. And essential to that is the fact that integrity is first and foremost. You know, I do a lot of writing, and I wrote a book, and in the book that I wrote, I talk about the difference between King David and King Solomon. We know that King Solomon was the wisest person on the planet. He asked the Lord for wisdom, and the Lord gave it to him. He gave it to him for free. You know, didn't have to earn it, just gave it to him. And, you know, Solomon had great wisdom. He lacked nothing when it came to wisdom, knowledge, or understanding. And he was able to impress a lot of people, do a lot of things right. He was able to become rich. And a lot of people, a lot of men esteemed him, also women. And the thing about it is, King Solomon was as wise as they get, but we all know what happened in the end of King Solomon's reign. Number one, he ended up allowing men and women to influence him too much. And number two, and this is not really addressed in a lot of sermons, he basically became a very harsh ruler. And you can look it up in the Bible. I'll try to make my other videos cleaner. But there's verses in the Bible that say he became a very harsh king. And he basically lorded it over the people around him. And that's one of the reasons that after his son, you know, Solomon died, that his son, the Israel split because they didn't want to serve a harsh king. And they even said, your father was harsh, be easy on us and we won't split. And he said, no, I'm gonna be even harder than him. So basically what I'm trying to outline is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding do not equate to a good leader. They do not equate to someone who wants to do you right. They don't equate to someone who is going to rule the correct way. What it does equate to is someone who has the ability to exploit you, has the ability to put you in a position where you're going to have to do things you don't want to do. You're going to have to possibly make choices you don't want to have to make. And that's why in the book that I wrote, I compared the difference between, you know, King Solomon and his father David. David also had wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Not as much as his son, but he had it. He had enough. And what David had that Solomon did not have is he had the integrity. And that missing element from Solomon was his downfall. The reason Solomon never had integrity is because the gifts that God gave him freely, he never exercised them properly. He never walked in them the right way. God told him what to do and what not to do, and he didn't obey. He did what he wanted to do. David obeyed the Lord. There were some times where he disobeyed, but I'm talking about the big picture. David obeyed. He was one who obeyed. And because David obeyed, God took him even deeper into the wilderness. He took him even deeper, where basically for some assume between 10 and 14 years, he was on the run from King Saul. King Saul was trying to kill him. And David was just tested incredibly during this time, even so far that he even went to sojourn in the land of the Philistines because he didn't want to deal with King Saul anymore. He even left his own land. That's how hard his life got. And basically exiled. And, you know, that process, the process that King David went through, because he had the gifts that God gave him, was the process that wielded within that man integrity and ability to lead. Don't think it's a coincidence that it was during this time where King David was in the hold and he was learning the integrity that God raised up mighty men next to him. It's not a coincidence. When you do the right things, God will honor you. And God will help you. And God will even bring people close to you that will even save your life, just like the mighty men saved them. So I'm straying a little bit, but essentially, the integrity is the all-important factor. Solomon ended up a harsh ruler. He was a harsh king. He did not help people and empathize with them. He basically used his controlling mind and his very powerful mind to exploit people, to use them, to abuse them. And if you look at leaders today, there's nothing different. You know, I don't want my leaders that smart, because I'm going to end up in chains. You know, I want my leaders to have the right integrity. I want them to have the right, you know, charisma deep inside within themselves to know that, hey, if I make this choice, there's consequences. If I make this choice, this can happen. You know, this is the first and probably many videos that I'll do, but I'm just trying to outline the fact that we focus on the wrong things. The integrity process is something that cannot be given to us. It has to be earned. It is the Christ likeness within us. It is the pearl of great price. It is so many things the Bible talks about it. But essentially, without integrity, you can have knowledge, understanding, wisdom, all those things. If you don't hold them with the right hands, you're going to cause damage. And that's exactly what King Solomon did. That's exactly what the leaders do today, because they don't really consider integrity as monumental. It holds everything together. King David had it, and it's not a coincidence that Jesus Christ compares the millennial reign of Christ as basically King David reigning from Jerusalem, because integrity is what it's about. And we know Jesus had this integrity. David was a mirror of that integrity. And we need to go from wisdom, knowledge, understanding, put that aside, use it, because God gave it to us. But first and foremost, we got to have that pillar of integrity so that we empathize with other people, so we treat them right, we don't exploit them, we don't use them, and we make the right choices, reverencing God with those right choices.